Film fans of YouTube, hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh, your Movie Apprentice, and today I am finally getting around to reviewing and watching a film that, as a horror film, everyone says you have to see. I am of course talking about 1973's The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin and starring Ellen Burstyn, Jason Miller, Linda Blair and Max von Sydow. And this film, as you probably are aware, is about actress Chris's daughter Regan, who falls sick, but it turns out it might be some form of possession, and they have to get a couple of priests to carry out the first exorcism in a great number of years. This is one of those films that everyone says you have to see it if you're a horror fan, which is why I've put it off so long. This was my first time watching it, and my thoughts going into it was, is it just going to be one of those overhyped things that aren't as good? Because you've obviously seen most of it. I had the same issue with The Shining. So going into this, I was a little bit nervous, but I was also excited. And I'm very much glad I did. But before we get into the review, if you like what I do on the channel, click that like button and consider subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell notification to be notified of when I'm putting reviews up. I've got a big plan ahead for horror movies coming up this month. But without further ado, let's get into this review, shall we? So this film, everyone knows the theme music, everyone knows the exorcism scene, but it's one of those films where no matter how much they show me the clips from this film, it only shows you maybe 10-20% of the story, because this is very much a slow burn story, which I was not expecting. This film gives you a lot of time to get to know these characters. You get to know Chris, who is an actress, and you get to know her relationship with the people around her, including her daughter Regan, who you get to see being this young, happy child before she gets possession, has this massive personality change. You get to know Father Karras, who basically is losing his faith, and you see the reasons why and the struggles and stipulations he is going through. And you get to see Father Merrin, who shows up at the start and doesn't show up for most of the film, but you get an idea that he's going to come into play later on, purely through the first few minutes of this film. As for the horror of this film, I would be lying if I said I was scared by it, but I will say I was definitely uncomfortable by a few scenes. I can definitely see why some people were scared of this film. Unfortunately, I was watching the theatrical cut, as narrative was the only thing I could watch it on, so I didn't get to see the infamous spider crawl or the extended ending. But for what I saw, I was relatively pleased with it. I'm kind of glad I didn't get to see the spider walk down the stairs, because yeah, it felt like all the horror and mayhem was going to take place in that room. Occasionally they do go outside of the room for some little glimpses into Regan's possession, but most of the actual scary bits all take place within that room. I think the performances in this film are fantastic across the board from all the cast, but I have to give Linda Blair the biggest shout out, because this 12-year-old girl could not have possibly had an easy time filming this. The amount of stuff she had to do, the amount of physical performing she had to do in this was insane. The practical effects where they're shaking the bed and shaking the room, it felt like they were definitely on a set that was just getting rotated around and spread things out a little bit. It was a lot of fun to watch, but there were some outright uncomfortable moments. The crucifixion, her swearing at the top of her lungs, saying all the obscenities under the sun. The flopping bit for me was actually probably the most terrifying bit for me, because Jesus Christ, the whiplash on that could have been very nasty indeed. I have to just really appreciate the amount of effort the crew and the actors went through for this film. But if you've never watched this, don't go into it expecting all the creepy stuff to come straight away, because it, like I said, takes its time. I think it's a good hour 10, hour 20 before you even start to see the infamous scarification makeup that's done on Regan, which props to the special effects makeup department. They did a fantastic job on that front. It's a good mystery. I will say, I think some of my only issues would have been the editing, because there are a few bits where a scene would be on for 10 seconds, then randomly cut to another location, and occasionally that did get a bit jarring for me, but I have to remember that it was made in the early 70s, and this was very much par for the course, and it was very snappy and quick, and I can also see why he did that, because at the end of the day, you don't want to linger on the scene too long. You just want to get what you need to know from the scene, and then move swiftly along to get the pace of the film going, because this film is nearly 2 hours long, but could have easily been 2.5 hours if it was edited with the tension building of today's movies. I can very much see why people were terrified of this film back in the day, I can definitely see why a lot of places tried to ban this film in the past. It was banned in the UK for a number of years, I know that for a fact. In terms of this whole film holding up, I will say my feelings once I finished watching this was that wow feeling. Those that watch a lot of films know what I'm talking about. You watch the film, you have some expectations for it, but they're not the highest. You expect it to be good, but not amazing. And then it just exceeds them good expectations. And you just have that feeling in the back of your mind and your eyes and your chest that just says, wow, I have actually seen a damn masterpiece here, because the script on this is very tight. The dialogue, not a single line of dialogue is wasted. Not a single character feels wasted. Not a single moment feels wasted. While there are some bits that start off vague, it builds up slowly and you're able to put two and two together as the film goes forward. And some of the physical acting in this is fantastic. And just some of the facial changes of characters. I think one of my favourite scenes is when Chris escorts the detective out of the house, all smiling and happy, even though the policeman is alluding to certain things. She closes the door, locks it, and immediately goes from happy smiley to just breaking down a little bit, because she knows. She very much knows, and I think that's probably my favourite shots in this entire film. Overall, The Exorcist is one of those that I was worried wasn't going to be as good as everyone made it out to be, but I am so happy to say that I was completely wrong in this. It's fantastically acted. The soundtrack is brilliant. The editing, while jarring at time, I can see why they did it. The practical effects were brilliant. The actual exorcism scene itself lived to expectations. This film is just a classic. This is actually an amazing film, and I can't believe I have taken this long to watch it. This is one of those films where I know for a fact no studio in their right mind would dare make it today. And I feel like the best horrors are those that focus on the family dynamic. There is a reason why a lot of the teen horror movies tend to get frowned upon, and ones that get called classics are about grown adults or families. They execute the atmosphere and tone of this film really well, and Jesus Christ, like, some of the images of this are outright shocking even to this day. The Exorcist for me, guys, is a perfect cup of tea. So The Exorcist, have you seen it? Were you scared by it? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and let me know, should I review the other Exorcist films in this franchise? I know there's sequels, but do I need to watch them? Kindly feel free to let me know. Coming up on the channel, I'm going to be reviewing a film called Open Grave I found on Shudder. I'm going on a bit of a Shudder binge this month. I also aim to do Ringu and Ringu 2. Hopefully Ring 0, I can find the version to watch it anywhere. There's also a couple of films I've seen on Shudder, Grave Encounters, Grave Encounters 2. Let the right one in, let me in as well. Going to get reviewed this month, and probably a few other. This has been a great month to be reviewing horror movies, and I can't wait to bring it all to you. But until next time, everyone, my name is Josh, I have been your Movie Apprentice, and I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you for watching, and thank you for making it to the end of the video. While you are here, if you haven't done it yet, please feel free to drop a like and consider hitting that subscribe button for more reviews coming all the time. And also, while you are here, there are some other videos over there that you might want to sink your teeth into. Have a good day, guys, and do enjoy.